You touching me, I'm touching you. You touching me, I'm touching you.
Did I do that? Oh shit.
Today we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the classic album Hest by Kakkmaddafakka.
It's kind of a party album, and at that time of our lives, we were party people. More than now. I would say probably max party in my life.
To be honest, I don't remember that much from 2011.
We were a band for many years before this record.
We didn't even know if we were going to record another album. We already released an album in 2007 and it was no good.
Capital City.
No recognition at all from the papers. Everything was just like, this is the worst shit ever from people ever. But they are great live, they always said. Like, the band is great live.
So we thought maybe we should just be a live band and that's it. But somehow we ended up recording this album and it went great.
Chicken shack, I forgot to say. With a Kakkmaddafakka. And the album is coming out today. Let me have a look.
So Hest came out a couple of years before I joined the band.
That's the album. That's the album.
Open it up! Open it up! Open it up!
Flip it up. Flip it up. That's me. That's me. That's Big B. Ooh. Yes. Yeah. It's me, Big B. Oh.
And I know that the release and the success of Hest was kind of like a breaking point for Kakk.
I was already, failing my university.
The brothers, they never liked school.
I was very afraid of going to class because when I was in class, usually I was very scared about hanging around with people I didn't choose to hang around with.
They just decided to get serious.
Threw some stones at Axel's window, and then I said, let's do this music thing. And then we started every day since that day.
You don't have working hands. I have.
I remember we built Pelican Studios by just a chance.
My dad owned a building with his brother.
And he just met me in the street and they didn't know what to do with the basement. They just bought the building.
We rented it with a band.
I lived across the street. It was very, very fantastic.
Couldn't afford it, but we did it anyway.
We built a studio ourselves, more or less.
Pass, he was a glass master.
I remember I did the glass for the control room so the producer could look into the room, but yeah. The control room was weirdly placed, so it wasn't used that much.
We had some great times in that studio, Pelican Studio. And that's where we recorded most of the album, I guess.
Hey, stop it!
We built a studio together with Matthias also.
Ax and Pish and Matthias was hanging out a lot.
Matthias was kind of a competition because he was like running the main studio of Pelican Studios. He was kind of serious.
But also he's been very helpful for us. Matthias is extremely talented.
The paradoxical thing is that even though I was behind the idea and knew all the contacts of this studio and everything, I ended up in the back room.
We were in like this kind of little shed in the corner of the studio. And it was kind of upside down if you look at how it became in the end.
Our life was basically just hanging in the studio. Pish and Ax were the most active ones.
It was a lot me and Pish sitting together and bringing the guys in when we needed them.
They made most of the songs.
Then Erlend came along and was a new friend in 2009.
When I moved back to Bergen from Berlin in 2007, I heard about them from other people.
A couple of years previous to that, we made fun of him in a video.
Without asking me. went to see a show of them. It felt more like I was watching a cabaret show than a band, particularly because they had invited like 3 or 4 guests of famous people from Bergen.
So Alan was a very cool guy to have around when we were so young guys.
It seems a bit desperate to get every kind of person, famous person in Bergen, to be on their show. But I mean, it was entertaining.
New Year's Eve 2008, me and Axe met him at this art thing. We started just to hang around.
With them, I got updated about what was going on in their generation, because they were basically exactly 1 generation younger than me.
He was kind of like a big brother to us.
The reason why I ended up working with them is because I realized they really needed help.
And then he said, yeah, very cool with this new studio thing idea. Yeah, we can rehearse there and whatever, we can make studios.
It was a shitty studio where things got done.
I think it was the first time he ever produced an album which wasn't his own. And he's singing on it also.
I'm touching you, you're touching me, I'm touching you, you're touching me, I'm touching you, you're touching me. You're touching me, I'm touching you, you're touching me, I'm touching you.
Did I do that?
Oh
shit.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I was supposed to be the cool producer in the background.
Very exciting to work with Alan Öje.
Helped us learn a lot.
I think the main thing Alan taught us was patience. Ironically, because in one of his songs he sings,
Patience is just another word for getting old.
But he is really into patience. Spend time, use the time, be careful.
I still feel that they're very impatient.
This has always been like a problem for our band, is patience.
The brothers, very impatient.
To work with Alan Öje is challenging.
Very surprised about his work method.
If I compare myself to Kings of Convenience, where we have now been working for 5 years on a record, and finally it's going to come out. I remember Axel was very frustrated after having recorded 2 weeks in Berlin, and we might have to go back to do another week.
It was Erlend that insisted that we also should record some songs live in a proper studio.
He said we had to do it like live, like we have to play it live. And then suddenly the magic happened.
It was a legendary studio down on the docks, Kato Odland. He had a beautiful studio there, just built it.
A real studio session with the whole band.
This was my first recording, so I was really pleased with my drumming. So it was like a big thing to get in there. Never been in there before. As this was my first recording, it was very important to have someone like Jones. He was the one that got me into the band. We had been best friends since we were like 3 years old. There's a lot of athletes that are like making everybody else better. This is also in music, and Jones is one of them. He's making me play 3 or 4 times better than I actually am, in a way.
Mr. Jones was a fantastic piano player, no doubt about it.
Fantastic piano player and fantastic personality.
By far the most accomplished musician.
Spectacular stage guy. Kakkmaddafakka owe him a lot.
A huge part of the record, and he played magnificent piano on this. Very many takes, but just like improvising every time something new. And it was always something golden coming out.
We didn't practice a lot.
Struck by lightning, maybe he's an alien. Maybe he found a secret lamp one day and he had 3 wishes. And one of them was to be very good at piano. And one of them was to juggle.
God has definitely given him a gift when it comes to piano playing. And also when it comes to destroying pianos. I think he destroyed, the years he was playing with us, at least 10 to 20 pianos.
I guess you can say Mr. Jones was the piano version of Jimi Hendrix. The only thing he didn't do was to set fire on the piano, but I bet he would if he would have the chance.
Check out his solo stuff. It's good shit.
We went to the studio and we went to Vamoose.
By far the coolest bar in Bergen ever.
The DJ, which basically was the Kakkmaddafakka guys, were playing a lot of good music.
I remember very well recording in the studio and then going down to Vamoose, drinking the first beer of the day, listening to it on the speakers.
So it was this place where we could see what music could do to people.
When we were at Vamoose, I don't think there was ever any time I was there without hearing Restless or Your Girl.
Every Monday it was a jam, so we were jamming there, testing some new songs.
Every Monday, cue, like a Saturday.
I guess it was easy to get inspired by being in a place like that.
The stories of the songs takes place at Vamoose.
And I'm not sure if Pelican, the studio, would ever happen if it wasn't for Vamoose.
With the manager that became our manager, David Holmes. He was a Welsh guy coming to Bergen, starting a bar.
Well, why did I want to work with KMF? Well, I'm not sure I ever said I wanted to. I think when I met Axel in Vamoose, we had something to talk about. I said, yeah, I saw your show and thought it was pretty cool, unusual. So I just said, well, like, why don't someone do something? And they said, why don't you do something?
And we said, please be our manager. And he became our manager. And he helped us a lot with the lyrical advice on the songs.
They couldn't write in English, so they asked me to write their emails, basically. That's how it started.
And also helped us very much out with kind of the style and everything around it. So he was a big part of the record also.
We went to Germany together and had a great time, put it that way, in the Melt Festival.
And then even Martin from Whitest Boy Live saw the show.
So I had made the band The Whitest Boy Live together with Marchie Nuts and then later with Daniel and Mashat.
Hey, we just got started, you can end this now.
Alan A was really big in Germany.
Hey, we just got started, you can end this now.
Me and Martin, the bass player, we had made a label, Bubbles.
Our show in Melt was highly involved in us getting a record deal. I wanna, and then his voice broke.
I wanna do something. What you wanna do? Dance.
And that was like the first thing the German people ever heard from us. That was, I wanna.
To my big surprise, Martin really liked Kakkmaddafakka.
In the end, it made us get a record deal.
We were using basically some of the Whitest Boy Live fame to get there.
At that time, it was crucial for us to meet both Alan and Martin. Martin also was kind of the label guy, the guy who knew the distributors, the mixers, everything, and he offered a great energy and a great masculine energy into the project. And yeah, we will forever be grateful to both Alan and Martin from the great Bubbles Records. And also they were the guys putting us up with a great mixer, Jonas Verweinen. So yeah, forever thankful, forever humble.
And now let's talk about the songs.
9 songs in total.
Restless really sums up Axel because he has ADHD.
It's a very fast song. Very fast. It's as fast as Take On Me by a-ha. There was one day I came down and played some things on guitar. I think I was there for 15 minutes before I had to go on my way. And when I came back 2 days later, that had become the song Restless.
A lot of people don't know that he's the guy that made the chords for Restless. Me and Pish knew that we had, together with Alan, made a hit. We needed a hit, radio hit. And I am the kind of guy that I make the stuff that I need when we need it. So we needed a hit, and I wanted to make a hit, and we made a hit.
I remember being down in Pelican and hearing it for the first time. And I thought, finally, now it sounds like we're getting somewhere.
Which?
I don't play bass on it, and that's fine.
Have fun. What is it?
When I look back, Steve should play the bass on the Restless.
He couldn't be there for some reason.
I gotta admit, it stings a little bit hearing Pish talk about Matthias being the bass master, going on and on about him being the bass master. Kinda annoying.
Bass master. I love the bass master.
I only see you when you walk in.
The music videos for Hested was the first time I think the guys had anything that looked professional of a music video.
The best video we still have.
The music video was recorded in Paris by a great guy, Frank Annes, and his wife. When it was produced by Alan, he loved us, and then he offered to make a music video very professional.
I think there was like 50 or 60 people in the crew.
Axel had been around my apartment and I was into Sukas guitar at the time, African guitar sounds. I played Axel this YouTube video and I said, someone should play something like this. Axel tried to play it.
They were like, yeah, you got to practice months to get this African style guitar. I said, just relax, man.
And he played the Your Girl riff. That's where it came from. But it was nothing like African, but it was his attempt.
Last night I had a dream about this girl I know, girl, she's beautiful. But when I woke up, I realized that the dream I had was true.
He's a great singer, Mr. Jones.
See, I'm not trying to cause any trouble.
We knew that Restless was going to be a major hit. That's why we put it as #1 on the album. And we also knew Your Girl was going to be a big hit. That's why we put it on the #2.
Cause that it's your girl, it's your girl. You know it's your girl, it's your girl.
Your Girl is based on a true girl.
I don't think you should tell who the song is about.
Ask one of us, but I got her crooked fingers.
A lot of people just like this line. I don't know, people crooked fingers. It's very good when you play it live, because then you can go up with your crooked fingers and crook around.
The one I enjoyed the most while we were doing the album was by far Self-Esteem.
I found myself growing up being taught to have a lot of respect for women, and that women were stronger than men, that every woman was like Pippi. I became very confused when I then became a young adult and understand that this was a lie.
Self-Esteem is such a great song.
It's probably played out to be more true than it's known at the time.
You suddenly find these girls with a little bit too low of a self-esteem.
So this song is kind of a scream for help from a young man that don't understand why the girls aren't showing more self-esteem.
We were discussing a lot about the wenga wenga part, which I felt was a bit unnecessary.
I think the song would have been bigger and better if we didn't have the Wenga part.
I'm happy that the guys sometimes do an acoustic version of the song where that part is not really present.
If it's something we got criticized is that it is man-chauvinistic. I think self-esteem is something you can at least work on.
It's normal nowadays that guys pick up girls. why don't girls pick up guys instead?
I loved it that much that I actually had the final say on the mix, but I picked the wrong version. It was a better version out there, and I think of it to this day.
Those two songs are kind of pretty weird set together because we are actually shouting at one part and then shouting at another. We're shouting at both men and women.
I don't want to say feministic criticism, but it's more of a result of feminism. You get young men that don't understand, who kind of learn to not make the first move.
Saying to them that, okay, it's cool to be nice, but it's even cooler to be cool.
I think I was supposed to sing the chorus and make the first move, but it was just too high for me. You gotta move. I just couldn't do it. So then Pitch took the chorus and that song.
Matthias Talles he arranged the strings on this song. And I remember being like mind blown from this. It was so nice.
Ishi brings me back to Bergen. When I hear the song, I walk the streets up to the little hill where the university is in Øysteinsgata.
Before Ishi was made, I was walking around being very inspired by the ABBA song, Does Your Mother Know? Which is about a guy singing to a younger lady and kind of mocking her like, you shouldn't be here. I wanted to make a song that was like not talking to the younger, but talking to the older.
Very interesting story about Ishi.
There's been some disagreement on who made the chorus for Ishi.
I think it was basically me and the bass player starting this song.
Steve and Axel were playing the guitar. Steve played the chorus, I remember that.
In Lillehammer. And then I just started singing, Is she old? Is she old enough for you? That's how it started. I made that. And then the song just lived its own life.
I made the bass line and the chords on the verse. David also very much helped on the lyrics.
It's the anticipation. It's that 5-syllable words you gotta pop in there when you can. I'd say in my history of lyric writing, that was my best line.
They changed it from you to me, is she old enough for me, and then we had the song.
Is she old? Is she old enough for me?
And it was a pretty typical way for us to make songs. One guy makes something and then just something happens and then we have it.
Maybe Ishi is my favorite.
Still one of my favorite songs, to be honest.
One of my favorites on the record.
I think that was probably my favorite song. Not because of the lyrics, even though they did apply and still apply. From the second I heard it, I really liked that song.
I haven't made much in this band, but I made the chorus for Ishi. I'm really proud of that.
Is she old? Is she old enough for me?
There's great songwriting, saying something a lot of people have thought, but no one has said yet.
I love it every time we play it. And I thought the older we were going to get, it's going to be creepy, but it's not. I don't think so. It's just a very beautiful love song.
I enjoy playing Ishi the most, not just because it has a piano solo in it, but maybe a lot because of that.
I wanna wanna do something. What you wanna do? Dance. I wanna do something special with you.
Touching started, I remember very well. This song, you know, very energetic song. And I was at the time listening to a lot of Benny Benassi, the Italian techno god.
Push me, and then just touch me, till I can get my satisfaction.
On a train to a gig in Trondheim, I was listening to this Benny Benassi, and then the chorus came into me. Touching you, touching me, I'm touching you.
Very much of its time. It's like a groper's anthem. I'm not sure it could be made in a post#MeToo era.
I had 1 year living in Oslo. The guys in the band sent me this song and said, check out this song, you gotta make a bass riff for this. And I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna make something. And then like the next day or whatever, they say, hey, this guy called Ben has made a cool bass riff. And that was doom 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 doom.
I'm not sure, but most likely that was the first song for this album.
So we are standing and dancing and laughing, but suddenly.
Yeah, I remember that very vaguely, but I remember we worked a lot on the lyrics, like on at least the second verse and the bridge.
We were discussing a lot about the lyrics, and particularly the part about the cure.
As they cross the floor, they are playing the Cure. He's standing by the door, walking over.
A really good song to start the show with.
Still our intro song every show.
I don't know how I found out about that drum thing, but I'm really happy we did it that way. It's been like my signature move. I remember it made me sound pretty good.
Pretty good! Pretty good.
Yeah, I made a riff. Yeah.
And then I kind of simplified it a little bit. And together with Jones and with the band.
Then we just recorded it live, very easy.
It's recorded with Carter. I think it was first take of that.
Heidelberg is called Heidelberg because we had a hell of a party in Heidelberg.
And also to get attention from the Germans.
That song is crazy. That night in Heidelberg was crazy. Helmalicious, one of the choir boys at the time. He was really funny, put on some glasses and he was just saying all this stuff. He was talking to a woman and he said, I don't like you, but I like your face. Next day he couldn't remember.
And I was walking on a rooftop at one point of the night.
He could have died.
It was just crazy vibe in Heidelberg. Always. Still is.
Oh, yeah, come on. It's the gangster shit. Can't fuck with this shit.
I have never really understood Axel's infatuation with gangsters and mafia.
Always wanted to be a gangster, yeah. Especially after watching Sopranos.
Very cool with the reggae song.
It was kind of hard to make that reggae vibe.
My mama always told me, if you're in trouble, always run.
When Gangster was made, I thought, wow, that's a catchy chorus. That was maybe the most catchy chorus that we had. Maybe a little bit stupid lyrics. Ooh, I want to be a gangster. Ooh, originally, please give me your money, or else I shoot you with my gun. Kind of childish. But also very good, very catchy.
Our label, which I started together with Pish, is called Bergen Mafia Records. Compared to other bands, Kakkmaddafakka is very gangster attitude. The biggest gangster in the band must be me.
Or else I shoot you with my gun.
Gangster was inspired by not having money. Nobody had money, and especially Axel.
My country always told me, get an education.
Since I was a school loser.
If you want
Since I was a school loser and the teachers didn't respect me, I would always been gravitating towards being outside of the society, like the gangsters. And it kind of explains my view at life.
Kakkmaddafakka live in New York streets.
A part of Gangster is made in New York.
Please give me your money, or else I shoot you with my gun.
This music video for Drøsse, as you can find on YouTube, I think it's really cool video. When we released the album the following summer, Drøsse was like the summer anthem of Vamoose. At the end of every night, Drøsse came on, and then everybody knew, okay, it's time to go home, but is there an after party? We had a GoPro camera. We went to this outside pool in Bergen in the middle of the night. We snuck in at 5 in the morning or something, so it's light, the sun is up, as it is in Norway in summertime.
Oh, we had a bonfire, we had instruments, food and drinks.
Drøsse is the last song, song number 9. It's the only song where Kakkmaddafakka sing in Norwegian, or Balabang. We have a language called Balabang,
which is about something like 20-30 words.
Drøsse is a made-up word in Balabang, which means hungover.
Drøsse was in the beginning a joke song we made for the gang. Everybody had a verse.
Lots of people rapping on this song.
Matthias was singing, and he was singing this melody that we use today.
We tried to translate the chorus into English, but then Alan said, just keep it in Norwegian, sounds cool.
A lot of Norwegian bands, they think they have to explain too much of what they do to the outside world. But the outside world will most likely be interested in Norwegian bands because they offer something else. And the concept of having a few lines in Norwegian seems completely fine, probably more interesting. What very often happens when we try to translate Norwegian words into English is that they lose their power.
It's always popular when you go to Spain or something and you see the Norwegians in the crowd. They always love the chorus.
It's very inspired by Paul Simon, kind of. Mario, very important character for the band at these times, you know, in the party times.
The designer of the record.
He drew the horse, the famous horse, the dead horse.
Yeah, Mario drew the horse with the idea of Axel.
So it's kind of a party album.
Some of the songs on this album are so articulated, smart, funny, and full of ideas.
Also full of ideas.
There's 3 reasons why the album is called Hest. One of them, Hest, is a word in Balabang and means party. It's a picture of a dead horse on the cover.
Hest means horse in Norwegian.
And also, Pass is on the cover. And when he was growing up, people told him he looks like a horse.
And he came to me once and said, Erland, did you put me on the cover because I look like a horse? And I had no idea. I just thought that his expression and his smile just was very catchy. And it says something about young energy.
First international album.
Our first baby in a way. It was the first one that got us some recognition at all.
I think we toured with this album, our longest tour ever, 31 days.
Touring Germany, first time in a proper tour bus, nightliner, bus with beds.
The first tour after Hest, that was when things were really starting to look like a normal band.
Starting to sell out places, Hamburg sold out, Berlin sold out.
We made tour songs.
Went to Spain for the first time, which was very exciting. The people in Spain was a big surprise that they were so cool and doing things so professionally. Everything that happened after Hest was released, just super exciting.
To this date, we are really enjoying touring. And we have always enjoyed touring.
We still play almost every song on the new set list from that album, which is really cool.
I must say it's one of the purest albums we ever made.
We were very proud of the album. 25th of February 2011. 10 years ago, sick.
I felt that I was sitting on gold. And it turned out I was.
And now you have gold in your mouth.
And now I have gold in my mouth. And on my fingers. Like a gangster. And I'm a tree, tree chains. Not only 2.
Jeg så jævla drøse. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Nå jeg inne. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Jeg så jævla drøse. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Nå jeg inne. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Jeg så jævlig drøse. I går var det fint med masse mø. Hjemme alene I fjodde fjor. Slæpete kjæring med rumpesto. Jeg sa kjæring, fiks noe øl. Fiks noe vin, så fikser vi noe frøl. Ta med noe rofe som makker. Husk sig, så blir det blakka blakka. Sitter I bilen, fyrer opp en rev. Putter på våga, bli skrev. Nei! Musikken ikke viser hos det. Yeah! Hører på jeepen gesyre. For I kveld skal vi 1, 2, 3, 4. Festen har startet så vi gir gass. Klikken så fet at vi tar mye plass. Ser en gjeng med bitches, de går inn på dass. Føler etter de, det går rett og slett på pass. Jeg så jævla drøse. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Nå jeg inne. Jeg var så jævla ute I går.
Jag är bad boy Erik, du kallar mig för svensken. Jag kommer från landet på andra sidan gränsen. Jag gillar att hänga med Axe, Max och Paul, Homer och Jones och en som heter Njål. När vi hänger är det brudar och bärs som gäller. Vi checkar och skålar istället. Stänger ner på golvet och dansar till biten. Sen tar vi en öl för att inte bli sliten. Axel superrött och Paul dricker vitt. Jag tar en GT till jag blir CP. Därför är jag bakis idag. Igår var det brännvin runda på runda. Idag jag ligger och vill bara blunda. De sa
Vilken vind det som blåser idag? Jo, det brännvin.
Och så ska det vara hela veckan varje dag. Men jag håller mig inne för jag mår så jävla illa. Går på dass hela tiden och måste ligga stilla. Idag är jag bakis men igår så var det fett. Jag sa idag är jag bakis men igår så var det fett.
Jeg så jævla drøse. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Nå jeg inne. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Jeg har regler jeg følger når jeg meg I spliff. Digger musikk og fete gitarer. Første å børste tærne mine. Andre passer på vennene mine. Nummer 3 henger med nummer 4. Sitter og flyrer med en 5 og en chick. Klikk, så har vi 6. Digg, ta min sigg. Trekker inn, blåser utover, bortover mot 7 dverger, utkledd som Michael Jackson, Sense Fashion. Går hjem med et smil rundt munnen klokken 9, møter onkel. Jeg så jævla drøse. Jeg var så jævla ute I går. Nå jeg inne. Jeg var så jævla ute I går.
Pisker en mann med en fiskestang. Hvis han vinner mann, må vi diske han. For vi karene som ikke spytter I glasset. Mens du drikker som passe, drikker vi masse. Jeg ikke noe grei, mitt navn Junker J. Kommer inn I klubben med bubben så lang vei. Faen så vemmelig, drikker noe henny, men egentlig vennlig, så lenge det god stemning. Drikker drø, fitte, mø. Rosas hestnåring begynner å blø. Nydelig bitch, nydelig tits. Muggen etter syns Junker var det shit. Drikker på vammen, møen var gammel. Like gammel som jeg og Axe møtte sammen. Sovner I gangen. Klekk, 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 klekk. Søker du husker den sangen?
Jeg var så jævla ute I